the movies turn out shitty. It's just true. Most of the time, I think, you see a bad movie, it's because their priorities are on money rather than telling a good story. So I would agree with you there, Jules. However, I would also say that there are examples of people who manage to walk that line and to do great things with lots of artistic integrity and do it in an economically responsible fashion. Like, you know, if you're going to make a movie like Inception, for example, it's going to, you know, Inception costs some huge, you know, millions and millions and millions of dollars. Well, you can't make a movie that costs millions and millions of dollars unless it's going to yield millions and millions of dollars. And I think, you know, Christopher Nolan is a really great example of, he's a great example of somebody who has found that balance, and he makes the art that he loves to make, and he does it for that reason. But he also manages to make these things that cost lots of money because his things make lots of money. And I guess that would be my goal with hitRECord, is to try to find that balance so that we can do projects that cost money. Like if we want to put out a DVD, well, that's gonna cost money to mass produce all those DVDs and get them into stores and all that. So it has to make some money if it's gonna spend some money. But Jules, what I would like to ask you is, first of all, like what kind of stuff do you make?
I try to write. I try to do a little bit of
You
film.
do write, don't you? Come on, man.
I do.
Yes. So, do you, what is your attitude then towards, like, your writing, say, at some point if someone offered you some money for some of your writing, how would you feel about that?
Well, I guess it's the difference between, say, writing just, you know, you feel like you want to write, you do, versus you have a deadline, you need to write for the money, you need to, you know, make that bank, and so what you write won't be as good or won't be as from the heart.
Right. That's a good point. Have you run into that sort of scenario before?
Unfortunately, not yet.
Right. Well, but you might have run into deadlines, if not based on money.
True. Yeah.
How does writing for a deadline tend to disrupt you? Do you find?
I mean, it's just two totally different styles of writing. But I think you know, when you're at a deadline, sometimes you write brilliantly because you have to.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's less. Everybody should be writing like they have to versus actually writing because they have to.
Right. Writing because they have to, as opposed to writing because they have to.
Like writing because writing because you feel like you need to. Writing because it's in you and it has to get out. Versus writing because someone's pulling it out of you.
Right. I understand that. So then, to, you know, someone like a Christopher Nolan, or say like The Simpsons, or, you know, other examples you could come up with of, you know, things that are commercially successful but also creatively virtuous. I mean, I guess, is that kind of what you're aiming to do, or would you prefer to just like leave money out of it and try to get grants, or?
I mean, I'm talking, I guess, more about the idea. I'd love to get paid to do what I want to do.
Me too.
But it's just, I guess, the idea of it's a shame when really good writers get burned out because they have to keep writing and it's kind of sucked out of them. Or any medium of art. Like, I feel like the really good, serious artists never really get noticed, or they do after they die, and then you see that they made some amazing things without the commercial part of it.
Right. Well, I think it's totally a valid thing to keep at the front of one's mind when navigating, trying to be a professional artist, and I'm really, really glad that you spoke up and voiced that. So thanks, Jules. Can we hear for him? Thank you. Thanks.